Maharashtra government today finally announced the much-awaited industrial policy that's been in the works for a while now. It's a new industrial policy. The government hopes that investments to the tune of 5 lakh crores will come in the back of this policy, and they also hope to generate employment for 20 lakh people. They've also tweaked the guidelines for SEZs, hoping to attract more investment. We've got a very special guest joining us live right here on ET now. Prithviraj Chavan, Maharashtra Chief Minister, joins in live on the show this evening. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on ET now. You've come out with a new industrial policy. What's been the underlying objective while framing this new policy and trying to attract investments of the magnitude that we're talking about?
See, the global scenario is not very good. You have a European crisis, you've got an American crisis. The Indian growth rate has slowed down. Maybe this quarter it was 5.3%. In that atmosphere, the investments into the country or investment happening in the country through the local resources also have slowed down. In that atmosphere, how do you attract what comes to India, what is invested in India? How do you make sure that most of it comes to Maharashtra? Maharashtra has been a leading industrial state. It's got maximum industrial production, maximum industrial employment, maximum exports, and we've been getting a very large amount of FDI which flows into India. How do you continue that? There is of course competition from some more developed states, and that is healthy competition. We welcome that. But in that competition, how do you make sure that people choose Maharashtra over any other state? Now, what industry needs is easy availability of land, electricity, water, a good infrastructure, including civil aviation infrastructure, port infrastructure, good roads, railway connectivity, and you need market, and you need human resources. Now, all these areas, Maharashtra has an advantage, has an edge. There are certain negatives, which I'll admit up front. Land availability was a problem. And I think we had tried to address that problem by building future industrial parks, industrial estates, industrial complexes in an integrated manner. Our current policy of MIDCs, which are focused only on getting land, getting electricity and water connection, making plots of land and then handing over to industry to build their industries. Now, we did not bother about industrial, about the social infrastructure, whether for housing or for schools, colleges, hospitals, recreational infrastructure, and that's why quality of life suffered. People had to live virtually in slums outside the industrial area, or had to commute from many kilometers, wasting a lot of time, and therefore the togetherness with their families suffered, overall quality of life suffered. Now, we studied the way industrial parks have come up abroad. We also looked at the SEZ policy, the concepts behind the special economic zone which central government brought out after a lot of thought. And we've taken some of the ideas from there, and the future development will be in shape of integrated industrial areas which will have certain reservation for non-industrial use, which is recreational infrastructure, social infrastructure, schools, colleges, hospitals, residential availability of residences for all people, workers, labor, supervisors, managers, owners. And so that the commute time is reduced, you come to the concept of walk to work, and the quality of life improves overall. So with these objectives, overall objectives, in a scenario of uncertainty, we have framed a policy.
Sir, you have made a provision for SEZs to be converted into industrial parks, but will SEZs that have been denotified be eligible for this conversion? For instance, will Reliance Industries be allowed to convert its Navi Mumbai SEZ into, say, an industrial cluster?
The point is this, our main thrust is that we're going to build integrated industrial parks. Now, if any SEZ wants to denotify itself, or they do not want to continue with SEZ because of the changed taxation policy by central government, then they are denotifying. Now, if they denotify, they've got huge amount of land available, which I want to make available for industry in Maharashtra. So subject to certain conditions, subject to the rules that we apply, they would generally be allowed to denotify. That denotification or not is their decision, but if they denotify, then the original reservation of land comes back. They can in that case either build townships. The Maharashtra government has a town policy to build townships. They could do that if law permits, but we don't want them to convert into townships. We want them to convert into industrial areas that we have defined, and that's where the SEZ had a 50% industrial use and 50% not industrial use. We increase the industrial use to 60%, and we'll, in our integrated industrial parks, will allow 10% of commercial use and 30% for other residential use, which includes schools, colleges, hospitals, and residential facilities. So the objective is that holistic development of industrial areas come up, and we get better quality of industry. People join these industries because there is a high quality of living possible.
Fair point. So if I'm getting you right, you're saying that such denotified SEZs can be converted into an industrial cluster provided they meet certain guidelines that are there. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right.
Right. The other point that I want to talk about is that, companies can use 40% of the total land for low-cost housing. Will this criterion also apply to SEZ developers as well?
No. I think the industrial policy or the housing policy of the state is that whatever housing development project comes up in the state, that will have to have 20% reservations for economically weaker sections. That is a state policy for any housing project. So any housing complex comes up within the industrial area, then that will also attract these standard rules which are applicable throughout the state for any housing project. And therefore 20% will have to be reserved for EWS, which will mean industrial workers and all that. And for a holistic development, there will have to be housing for managers, supervisors, owners and workers together. So all kind of housing will be required in an industrial area.
Fair enough. While the industry has given a huge thumbs up to your industrial policy, companies like M&M and Bajaj Auto have really been threatening to move out of the state, citing the long pending VAT refund case. When are you looking at a resolution to that?
No, the VAT refund issue is an issue that how soon do you get your VAT refund which is promised. There is another issue with 4 or 5 auto companies where the VAT refund rules were being not used in the correct way that were intended when the policy came up, and double benefit was being put in. The basic VAT refund policy is that any industry which wishes to set up a mega project, and there is a definition of mega project in terms of both investment limits and manpower or jobs created. Now, if a unit qualifies for a mega project status, then he gets a VAT refund. Whatever VAT he generates or the industry generates out of their activity, that VAT is refunded to them, subject to certain ceilings, which can be as high as 100% of the total investment, or lesser amount depending on which area you are in. So imagine an industry sets up a project worth 1,000 crores to manufacture cars, and they manufacture cars over a number of years. Whatever VAT that is generated, value added tax that is generated on by that company, and that is paid to the central, that is paid to the Maharashtra government, all of that is refunded to the limit of 1,000 crores or a percentage thereof. So virtually over a period of time, you get all your investment back through state government incentive. I think it's a very, very liberal incentive, and that is what we intended. Now, because of a certain loophole in the law, people who could create a marketing company got a double benefit. They got benefit upfront of what was intended and some benefit which was not intended. So therefore, we plugged the loophole. The legislature passed a law and changed the VAT rules where this double benefit through a marketing company was plugged. Now, there is a genuine concern by industry that they said that they thought that they could use this double benefit legally, and it was not illegal, that is correct, but also plugging the loophole was legally permissible. We got legal advice, and we did it. Now, as a result, yes, their cash flow has been affected, that's a fact, but our commitment was to return the entire investment that we promised would be returned, or a percentage thereof that we promised in our MOU with them. That remains, that commitment remains. Only thing, it may take a little longer for that refund to happen.
Are you hopeful, sir, that none of these companies will pull out or scale down their expansion plans in Maharashtra? M&M, for example, has a massive facility in Chakan, and there were talks that may not scale up. Are you confident that none of that will happen?
No, it's a simple fact that if anybody gets a better facility, better deal by any other state, their boards will not permit investment in something which is not as profitable for the company as other choice. But locational policy is not just about refund or just about one incentive or that. They have to look at power availability, industrial work culture, the availability of highly trained manpower, the turnover of the manpower. Certain states have a higher turnover ratio. And Maharashtra has enjoyed industrial peace for a long time. There's a great industrial work culture. We've got fantastic manpower resources. Only problem was availability of land. Land cost was high. There are certain water issues in certain parts. We are making industry use and recycle whatever water we'll give them, which will be generally waste municipal water, and that they'll have to recycle because water scarcity is a fact of life. And therefore, we are the state where we are giving power to industry without any load shedding and without any break. Our power rates are high because we're trying to pass on certain cross subsidy that you are giving to industry, that you are giving to agriculture, to industry. And I realize that the industrial power tariff has gone up very high. We're trying to work on how we can bring it down together. But how many states can guarantee full power to industry? You look at some of the states which are trying to compete with us. They have to take, industry has to be given off for 3 days. They're not getting power for more than 8 hours in a day. Look at the power availability. So I think overall, industry will remain here. We will be most attractive state for investment, for heavy industry, for automotive industry, pharma, research, or whatever other sector. We will be highly competitive. I'm sure industry will choose to invest in Maharashtra.
A confident Maharashtra Chief Minister there, making a strong pitch for investments in the state. Thank you so much, Mr. Prithviraj Chavan, for taking the time out and joining us live on ET Now.